Respected delegates, very good morning. There is ample evidence that climate crisis is plaguing the world today, especially the developing world is being affected by the vagaries of climate change, like Pakistan. Pakistan is a country with a diverse climate extending from high mountains in the north and sea level in the south. This adds to the vulnerabilities of Pakistan. If we look at the temperatures, Pakistan is having temperatures 14 to 16 degrees C in the high mountain areas, whereas in the plains and the southern parts, the temperatures are very harsh in the summer season. Even some of the areas in Pakistan in the south have exhibited temperatures in the past up to 53 degrees C. Pakistan is having a very meager share of greenhouse gases in the international contribution of the GHGs. But the vulnerability of the country is very high. And these threats are depicted in the form of desertification, water stress, flooding, glacier melting, and losses to agriculture and overall economic development. This slide presents a comparison of last 40 years wherein the country has faced multiple hazards in the form of large-scale flooding, droughts, and increased cyclonic activity. Here you can clearly observe that during the years 1980 to 2000, the number of extreme events that the country faced are less as compared to the period from 2000 to 2022. The most recent exhibition of the extreme events is in the form of the heat waves and glacier melting events and the super flood of the 2022, due to which almost every third Pakistani got affected last year. The decrease in the glacier volume and snow cover leading to the alterations in the seasonal flow pattern of the Indus River flows, increase in formation and outburst of glacial lakes, high frequency and intensity of extreme climate events coupled with irregular monsoon rain patterns are some of the key vulnerabilities of the country. Keeping in view the climate vulnerability and change threats, Pakistan has undertaken a number of interventions and measures to address the issues arising out of the climate change. Updation of National Climate Change Policy, submission of nationally determined contributions, and the most recent launch of the National Adaptation Plan are the key interventions that the country has done to save the communities from the adverse impacts of climate change. If we look at the institutions involved in the preparation of the biennial update report, so mainly 3 institutions from 3 ministries contributed to the BUR compilation. Ministry of Climate Change, being the focal agency for the submission of the biennial update report, involved Global Change Impact Studies Center, a dedicated research institute for climate change studies, and research arm of the Ministry of Climate Change in the preparation of the greenhouse gas inventories and in the establishment of the measurement, reporting and verification system. Besides this, Ministry of Energy's institute, called as National Energy Efficiency and Conservation Authority, NECA, contributed to the chapters on nationally appropriate mitigation action. And last but not the least, Ministry of Science and Technologies institution, called as Pakistan Council for Renewable Energy Technologies, contributed in the development of chapter on constraints and gaps. Now we come to the next slide, that is about the National Greenhouse Gas Inventory. This report presents National GHG Inventory of Pakistan based on the latest data sets available as part of Pakistan's BUR project executed by Ministry of Climate Change in the light of Katowice decision. GCISC is mandated institute for the compilation of the greenhouse gas inventories. Here in this slide, you can see that the estimated total GHG emissions are 489.87 million tons CO2 equivalent. These emissions are coming from energy sector, industrial processes sector, effluent sector and waste sectors respectively, in line with the IPCC 2006 guideline. Energy and agriculture sectors are the key contributors. If we look at the greenhouse gas emissions trends from 1994 till 2018, here you will see that the share of increase in emissions is more in energy and agriculture sectors as compared to the other sector. This is mainly due to the high population increase rate, resulting in the high energy demand and food demands in the country. As already mentioned, that Pakistan is a country which is having less than 1% of share in the global greenhouse gas emissions. Per capita emissions are very low as compared to the other countries, that is 2.3 tons CO2 equivalent per capita. And if we see the trend of emissions from 1994 till 2020, you will realize that on an average, every year 12 to 13 million tons of CO2 equivalent are added. Pakistan is now in a process to prepare the inventories every year. In the past, these inventory was prepared sporadically or as per need of the international reporting in terms of submission of national communications or in terms of submission of the nationally determined contributions. But Pakistan is on the way now for the preparation of the greenhouse gas inventories every year. In this context, the country has strengthened its institutional setups. Global Change Impact Studies Center is well linked with the key data providing agencies like Ministry of Energy, Ministry of Industries and Production, Ministry of National Food Security and Research, and their allied institutions who prepare the data. Besides data availability, that is still a key concern for the country, the ministry is strengthening its relations with the Pakistan Bureau of Statistics for the inclusion of some more data sets for certain categories into their statistical programs. Besides data, the country is also working on the robustness and quality assurance of the country is trying to switch to the tier 2 and tier 3 country specific emission factors. Still, there is a dire need to capacitate different institutions, not only at federal level but also at the provincial level, for the preparation of sectoral GHG inventories. Emissions modeling is another concern that is part of the capacity building efforts these days, for which we require international support. Now I come to the nationally appropriate mitigation action. Pakistan, through its BUR, reiterates its commitment and obligations towards the UNFCCC and Paris Agreement and the objectives to limit the average global temperature increase to 1.5 to 2 degrees C. During the BUR reporting period, Pakistan has taken genuine steps in major sectors of economy to curb the GHG emissions. The establishment of National Energy Efficiency and Conservation Authority and its various programs on industrial energy and audits, National Transport Policy, National Electric Vehicle Policy, revision of energy building codes, Green Pakistan program at national level are the major initiatives in this regard. These measures and actions are being intensified in the coming years with the expected availability of international climate finance, technology, development and transfer and capacity building. Pakistan is one of the most adversely climate change affected countries. In order to combat the negative impacts of climate change, an effective strategy focusing on all the factors including GHG inventory preparation, vulnerability assessment, adaptation and mitigation actions is required. This is only possible by identifying and overcoming the constraints and gaps mentioned previously. Moreover, sport at the international and national level is needed to strengthen the efforts being undertaken to address the issue of climate change. The sport includes both financial, technical, and capacity building to develop local expertise and necessary infrastructure. Need is also felt to include climate change subject at advanced level in the country's education system to promote awareness and develop indigenous people's expertise at the national level. MRV is an important component to track the climate actions. Country is very much eager to develop a national climate change transparency platform. This platform is aimed at having a tracking of the greenhouse gas emissions over time. Secondly, adaptation tracking is another key component of that transparency platform. The indicators for agriculture and water sectors have so far been developed, whereas the indicators for the remaining sectors are in the process. The third component of this National Climate Transparency Web Platform is to have a tracking of the capacity, financial, technology needs for these active efforts are being pursued for its development, and it is hoped that in the coming years this platform will be fully functional. Thank you.